What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this show possible. First is my friends over at Yellow Jacket celebrating their 75th year of being around, and it's absolutely amazing. Yellow Jacket they've come leaps and bounds, and to know what's going on behind the scenes with how they're trying to make better, more quality products. It's really, really awesome to see. And it's amazing people over there. And the fact that they're still able to make all of their stuff right here in the US of A is a big deal because nowadays, especially when it comes to manufacturing, it's about getting out the best they can for the cheapest, the cheapest they can do it so they can make more money. And the fact that Yellow Jacket hasn't done that is amazing. Like I said, Yellow Jacket reminds me of my childhood, getting into this trade with my dad, my first gauges, my first flaring block, like you name it. Some of my first that ever had tools in this trade were from Yellow Jacket. And like I always tell all of you, I will never tell you where to spend your money. I'll never be that guy. I'll never do it. I just tell you products and services that I like. And if you happen to be looking for said products or services, go check these out. Yellow Jacket has their new combustion analyzer out, the CA502 and the C502P. The only difference in the P is the printer. It is a very awesome, affordable combustion analysis machine if you're trying to get in that field. And you should have one. I know I've been both sides of it, but I think that there's definitely you should have it. It has its place, and have that in your toolkit. The wireless dual port manometer, same thing. This thing is amazing. Whether you're checking static pressure, we tell our customers duct pressure so they can understand it. Gas pressure. It's small, it's compact, it can fit right in your bag for whatever you're using. Absolutely amazing. And that turbo recovery is one of the best. And when I get on screen, I will show you their new Titan Max digital manifold, which I think is absolutely amazing. I've had this thing for a long time that I couldn't tell anybody, but this thing's absolutely amazing. And I'm glad to see, like I always say, that they're listening to everybody. They listen to people, they put it in this thing, but they still made it solid as a rock. And I have really, really thoroughly enjoyed using this Titan Max manifold. So remember, 75 years of expertise built into every tool. Next, let's see, who are we going to do tonight? We're going to go over to my friends over at BLUON. Guys, I know everybody who listens to me, I know you're all super techs. You don't need help. You don't need to call tech support. You know everything. You are an HVAC manual. I get it. But for those people out there that don't know everything and they need help sometimes, or they're thrown out into a position where maybe they're asked to do things that they're not qualified to do. Sadly, that happens too much in this industry. There's a resource for them. Or if it's somebody the best of us get stuck sometimes and you need help, and to know that you're not alone. You have a company like BLUON that is out there to help you with the manuals. Sometimes just having the manual is enough to give you the answers that you need. Trust me, they're not knee pads. It's that's not what it's for. They give it to you for a reason. They can give you the manual. They can give you the tech support if you need a phone call to talk to somebody, whether it is residential, ductless systems, commercial, all kinds of stuff. They are building out the tech support to be able to help a little bit of everything nowadays. They also have the AI, the master mechanic, where you can ask it questions. It will give you the better question you ask it, the better answer it's going to give you. And like I told you, I have tried to fumble this thing. Um, and it gets me along every time. It gets me to the answer and where I should be. And then not only that, the part delivery and using the part app is absolutely amazing for a company, the technician, and the supply house, giving them all the resources they need if they don't have that OEM part to be able to get you the cross-reference motor or whatever it is that you need so you can get that customer back up and running as soon as possible. Okay. So remember, upgrading the HVAC industry, go download the BLUON app. Last but not least, I'm going to do this one real fast, guys. I normally only do two, but I'm going to do three as my friends over at VETO. I got a bunch of stuff in today, so just know that I have a bunch of giveaways coming. I have a ton of stuff to give away. Guys, VETO is the Cadillac of tool bags. I also understand that everybody can afford, especially guys that are starting out, they're trying to build up their arsenal. They can't go buy a $200, $300 tool bag. I completely understand. Um, that's why I love the ambassador program and how we can do these giveaways to be able to put them in people's hands. And which is why even before I was ever sponsored by them, I've given away countless VETO bags. And I love hearing when people say, I would have never got down this VETO rabbit hole if it wasn't for you. And they say that with obviously with pride, knowing that now that they had one, they love it so much they can't go without it. And I think it's amazing being able to provide that opportunity to people, and I will continue to do that with these bags, sponsorship or no sponsorship. But with the sponsorship, it's going to be even better. And if God forbid you do not win one of the giveaways, you can go to True Tech Tools, one of my other sponsors, and buy VETO Pro Pack there and use the discount code Uncensored to save 8% on your order. With that being said, I have an amazing show tonight that I am super excited about it. So let's do this pledge and get rocking and rolling. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another hump night, another Wednesday, and another amazing show for you guys. I've been super, super excited about this. I've been friends with this person for quite a long time, knew him and been able to meet him several times, him and his lovely wife. So I'm super excited to have him on the show. Real fast, hello to some people, everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being a couple minutes late. That was my fault. So, oh, Mr. Steve's up there. Jason Johnson, Just Work, Mr. Nasty, what is up? What is up? Mr. East Coast. Let's see who else. Mr. Gary Gleesberg, Mr. Sam Andrew, Mr. Blogger, what is up? What is up? I see some restream bots, and we are actually on Instagram tonight. I'm not sure how it's going with Instagram. Rookie, what's up? Mr. Brian Sanders, what is up? What is up? Real fast before we move on, the people who won the Global the Source, the little short pro tool, I need some addresses. So, Sam, is your address still the same? I got one person, but I still need East Coast and Freon Leon. If you guys can email me. But we're going to use the new email. So if you can email me, Rookie or Jason, if one of you wouldn't mind putting this in the chat, please. info@hvacuncensored.com. If you could email me your address to that, I have them right here. They're all ready to go. So as long as your address didn't change, Sam, I have yours and I have Nate Christensen's address. I just need those other two and I'll get these out to you ASAP. with that being said, man, I want to get onto the show. It's amazing what this guy does in business, what he does with social media and the podcast, and the fact that I won't say known him. I've known him for a while, but I remember before it was all there, and seeing the work that he's put in to make this thing grow is absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy for him. So, guys, with that being said, please help me put your hands together and welcome the one and only Tool Pro, Mr. Brent Ridley.
What's up, Gil? How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, brother?
Awesome, man. What an introduction, dude. I feel I don't even know how to follow that.
Hey, man, all the work. I remember back in the day when it was YouTube, man, and we were all just doing that stuff, and everybody started to venture off. And what you've done since then is absolutely amazing. And you've put in a butt ton of work, and you deserve every minute of it, dude. You really do.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, we all started kind of on YouTube. Everybody started following some of the old school guys on YouTube, and we were all following those guys and watching their live streams and everything. And then one day it kind of hit me, and I said, you know what? Everybody does all this YouTube stuff. I said, let me do a different social media. So that's when I was like, I'm going to go on Instagram. But I knew nothing about Instagram. Like, my wife had to tell me what a hashtag was. So I knew nothing about any of it. But then that's how I started Instagram, just to be a little bit different. And it's been fantastic. Been a cool little ride ever since.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's even awesome your wife's involved, man. The stuff that she does, like with hers, the tool wife, like that's amazing. I mean, to be able to I don't think I saw it in any of the ones around me, but if some of you walked into a Lowe's, you saw a picture of this guy, that was in some of those stores, like that's awesome. And we'll get into some of that stuff, but I guess God forbid somebody doesn't know who you are. What I guess tell them a little bit about you, man.
Sure, sure. Yeah, it's kind of odd when I do this. I don't know. It's weird to talk about myself a little bit. But my name is Brent Ridley. I'm a licensed plumbing and heating and air conditioning contractor right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm from. And I own and operate a plumbing and heating and air conditioning company with my father. The company's been around for about 30 years. We started as a plumbing company. We now do plumbing and heating and air conditioning. We did added the heating and air conditioning part on about 10 years ago when I moved from Savannah to the Atlanta area. So we do that, and then I also have a social media brand called the Tool Pros on Instagram. We do a little bit with YouTube. We used to do a lot with TikTok, but primarily Instagram is where our home is. We do that. So we do tool reviews, we do trade related content, things like that, and then we also have our Miracle Mechanical brand, where we go in and we find corporate sponsors, and we go in and we help uplift people by way of major HVAC or plumbing repairs for free.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when people see that, the name of his company is one thing, the Miracle Mechanical, like he told me, which I kind of thought that was, but he clarified it for me. That's all they do is just go help people. And if you haven't seen some of those videos, go check them out because it's pretty awesome. The people's reaction and the stuff that they do. I mean, because it's rough out there now, man, and people need help, and for to do that, it's like a godsend for these people.
Yep, absolutely. We live in the United States of America. Let's be real. We live in the best country in the world.
Yeah.
There's no reason why we shouldn't have clean running water, working plumbing, and heating and air conditioning. Just the basic necessities in a house.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about lavish. They don't need a communicating system or anything like that, but just basic heating and air. And I think everybody should have that. And we're gonna try our best to help chop that tree down and help as many people as we can along the way for hopefully as long as I live.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So with your dad, let me ask you this. So with your dad doing more of the plumbing, what made you take the HVAC route and not like just straight up plumbing?
Yeah, so growing up, and I always went to work with my dad here and there, and followed him around. And I remember being young, 10 years old, following him around with he had a blue pair of channel locks in his back pocket almost all the time. I remember that vividly. But I always remembered also everything in plumbing you had to dig a ditch for, and you had to like get like down and dirty, And I was like, that's okay, but I don't think I want to do plumbing. I'm gonna try something different. So my girlfriend at the time in high school, her dad owned a heating and air conditioning company. So I went to work with him, and at first I kind of hated it, honestly, because we did commercial duct work. That's what he put me on. He was an all commercial company, and I did commercial duct work for the first 6 months that I was working with him, and I hated it. And so I quit, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to technical school. I'm going to figure out something else. Well, I went to technical school and flunked out because obviously that wasn't for me. I wasn't going to make it doing some kind of classroom and whatnot. So then I went back to heating and air conditioning, and I said, I'm going to do service. I'm going to try to focus on the service type stuff. And I did, and ever since then, I kind of fell in love with it over the years. And it's been great, and it's provided a great living for me, my family, and it's obviously helped me on social media and all kind of stuff, all kind of ways that you would never think about.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's why I tell people, like, even if, obviously you can make some pretty good extra income being an influencer, a podcaster, whatever. Don't get me wrong, but let's just say the trades in general. That's what people need to realize. You can make a good, comfortable living in the trades. Like, that plumber that you say that your butt crack hangs out, well, that guy might make $150,000 a year. You know, so that's what I love about the social media, the whole movement that happens, because more of especially I see some of these younger cats, whether it's male or female, and then now they're also putting their work online. I think it's amazing because that's just going to help us grow the industries even more.
Absolutely, and that's where we're going to have to reach these folks at the younger age. We're going to have to catch them at high school because I don't know. At least when I was in school, you know, the trades were kind of looked down upon. It was either you go to college or you're one of the dumb kids. At
Yeah.
least for me. And unfortunately, I think that stigma is still around a little bit, and we got to break that. And the way we break that is letting young kids know that there is options out there besides a traditional four-year college. Not that there's anything wrong with a college, but there is other options, and that doesn't, college doesn't fit everybody. So if it doesn't fit you, then you have other options out there, and there is places you can fit in, like maybe here in the trades and whatnot. So it's out there. We need to hit them at the high school. The counselors need to start believing in it and let the kids know. And I think that's where we need to start, and then we'll start making a big difference that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, and I don't just talk about it. I mean, my oldest son, I haven't let him come work for me, not because I don't want him to, because I don't want to be a fail safe. I tell him, like, you go fail and then you come back and I'll teach you this. But, he wants to do welding. He worked for a friend of mine who owns a plumbing company. And I'm like, good, get out there and do that. Get your hands dirty. Um, obviously baseball, he realized in college it was a job, and all of a sudden it wasn't as fun as it was in high school. And I said, hey, I'm not going to force you to do something, but now you're a big boy and let's figure out what you want to do. I said, if you want to go to a trade school, you pick what you want to do. I'll help you pay. I'll pay for it. But, no more wasting time. So he's doing good, trying to teach him how to use his hands. So I've been trying to teach him how to braise and stuff like that slowly, which it's pretty cool. I might try to start filming some of it, me teaching
No,
him,
that's great.
because yeah, that's some of my fondest moments. Is remember going back to my dad when he would teach me how to do stuff and be yelling at me with things that I probably can't say in public, but it got me to where I am. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, my dad was hard. My dad was hard to work for when I was younger, and he's even harder to work for now. My dad, and anybody who's worked for me and my dad, they'll tell you my dad's a hard man to work for, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and he'll give you the shirt off his back, but he's hard to work for, and so but he'll teach you along the way, and I couldn't do it without him because I tell folks all the time I'm a pretty good air conditioning guy. I'm an okay plumber, and without my dad, I don't know, on the plumbing side I'd be lost.
Yeah, it's one thing good with my dad is when I first got into it, my dad, he could have done like we do, like dealing with the, customers in the community, but he worked for this restaurant chain. It's kind of like Golden Corrals. It was like their local competitor, but he ran the maintenance for all of those. Um, uh, and it was a good gig. He got paid really good. He was home for the most part. But when I went to work for him, working there, you did refrigeration, kitchen equipment, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical. So I learned a little bit of everything to try to help me. And the good thing is like I used to get nervous when the owners were around. And my dad looked at me and he's like, "Why are you nervous?" And I'm like, "Well, Mr. Bob and Mr. Brett are there." And he's like, "I'm the only one that knows what you're doing." He's like, "You could blow up the compressor and they're not going to know any difference." He's like, "So relax."
Yeah.
Um, so my dad was hard on me, and in the beginning, he had a bunch of other guys. Then they started closing stores, and it ended up being just me and my dad. But even the older guys would always say they were hard on me, and they were like, "You're Gil's son, so I'm going to be harder on you." than somebody else, but I'm going to make sure you learn the right way. Like, your dad's a good guy, and we're going to make sure that you do this the right way. So I appreciate it that they were hard on me, but it helped me get to where I am, and then also realizing what my dad was given to me. Cause at first it was like, I didn't have anything else to do. So I came here, and then once you realize like, well, hey, man, my dad handed me something pretty awesome. If I actually put in a little bit more effort, I could really take this somewhere. And thank God that moment came, because I remember I went to my first company calling my dad, asking him questions at every call I went to. And he's like, "You gonna give me half your paycheck at the end of the week?" And he was like, "Hey, I love you, son." He's like, "But you're never gonna learn calling me. So if as long as you're alive and you're not hurt," he's like, "Don't call me when you're at work." Click. And it's one of the best
Yeah,
moments that ever happened, though. It forced me
yeah,
to get in the books and learn what the heck I was doing. I couldn't go on his coattails anymore.
yeah. And there comes a part. I think in everybody's career where they say, all right, it's either kind of one of those things. It's either, excuse my French here, shit or get off the pot kind of deal. Like, all right, I need to make this a career and I need to really get serious about this, or I need to figure out something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't ever want to downplay what we do, but I feel like if you're first of all, if you're mechanically inclined and you're a go-getter and you really want to learn, it doesn't take that long to get pretty decent at this. And then once you know, it's not that hard what we do. Like, I don't want to take away. I mean, but once you figure it out, it becomes fun almost. Um Not saying you're not going to be challenged and you can't, some things are going to stump you. That's the best of us that happens, but that's why, like, I miss running service calls. I mean, yeah, the money and where I'm my position now running the company is awesome, but I would go back if I could make the same amount of money running service calls. I'd do that all day, every day, twice on Sunday, because that was what I loved. That was the fun part of it. Like, some of them would be like the monotony of like capacitor, darn, but knowing that I was helping people and it was something different every time, I loved the challenge of it.
Oh yeah, it's so great. It's so rewarding when you go do that challenge and you fix something for somebody. It's awesome. And then, you know, yeah, it's all about that, and it's all about interacting with the customer, having that customer interactions that makes you feel good during the day. All that stuff is 100% worth it. And it's not that you're right. It's not that what we do is like extremely difficult per se, but if nowadays, especially nowadays, 100% these kids, I say these kids, the younger guys going in, you got every answer at your fingertips. You got a Google machine in your pocket. So you Google that thing, you Google the problem, and 9 times out of 10, you can figure it out right there. You can get any manual you need, especially with what BLUON, your sponsor. You get all that stuff. There's a good plug for them.
Yeah.
Get all the manuals and all that stuff that you need at your fingertips. And so if you really want to learn, there's no excuse that you couldn't learn this stuff, fairly quickly.
Yeah, and the one thing that the younger generation doesn't realize is I remember back in the day before there was GPSs or the Garmin's came out, maps. Um,
Yep.
and it was one thing doing commercial work because it's like, hey, is there a Walmart up here, a Chick-fil-A or whatever? Like, you could stop at a gas station or like, oh yeah, it's up here. But residential, it's like, oh, I'm going to Mrs. Smith's house. They're like, I don't know, figure it out, buddy. So that's one thing I don't miss. And it's funny when people are like, man, it was a pain in the butt getting there. I'm like, yeah, just stop. You have no idea how hard it was, back in the day trying to find people's address sometimes when you had
Yep.
to map quest your whole day before you went to work. And you better hope they didn't change your calls
Yep.
because all of them from this one to the next one.
And then if you had a pager or you had one of the Nextels, the beep beep, kind of deals and
Yeah.
whatnot. Oh yeah, I remember all that stuff.
That's funny. So people are already asking questions. Rookie said, Brent, all the tools you reviewed, which one is your favorite? That's kind of a hard question.
I get asked that a lot, and it changes. It changes frequently. But I got asked that last night by some guy. We did an Instagram live last night with KCS Plumbing, and it's probably we've been doing a good bit of drain cleaning and stuff lately. So it's probably the rigid flex shaft. It's a drain cleaning machine that you hook your drill up to, and it spins a chain, and you push the rod with the spinning chain down through the drain, and that cleans it, and it's killer. Before that you would have to pull out the drum machine, and this drum machine's 300-400 pounds. It's a back breaker. You give yourself a hernia putting it in the back of the truck. So now we can use these flex shaft machines, which are 30 pounds, and they do the same job most of the time, and they become a lifesaver. So I'd have to say that was probably my favorite right now.
That's sweet. I've seen that Rigid. I haven't done too much with them. I talked to them at HR, and I talked to them. Somebody reached out to me beforehand. I mean, it's just been a conversation, but some of their stuff has been awesome. They've come out with. I've got to say, obviously, I don't do plumbing. We're trying to open up a plumbing division, but um, I do think some of their stuff is pretty awesome. I've always been curious to ask this as the tool guy. I don't know if you have a side, but when when you do your own stuff, are you a Milwaukee guy, DeWalt guy, like, or you just use whatever's there?
So it's funny. We got a saying, and I've been saying it for a long time. And I think I'll give credit where credit's due. I first heard it from a guy on Instagram called R&R Building. So it's Kyle Stumpenhorse. He's a fantastic guy. He builds like post frame, barn dominium type stuff. He does awesome work. He's got a great following on YouTube too. Y'all check him out. R&R Buildings. But he said, I'm team best tool, and that's what I am. So not one tool brand makes the best of everything. So while I may have a circular saw from Milwaukee, which is great, my impact may be from Makita, or my recip saw may be the DeWalt. So it's all which one that I like the best. And not unfortunately, fortunately, I'm at a place where I can have different brands and use the different battery platforms. I know not everybody is in that space, but yeah, for me, I can choose kind of which one's the best tool, and I invest in them and invest in that battery platform.
Yeah, no, and that's a good answer, and I figured it would be that, and I tell most people like I use a bunch of Milwaukee, but not because I don't like other brands. It's because I got so deep into it that all the batteries fit each other that I just stayed doing that. But there's sometimes I'll be in Home Depot and I'll see like a Rigid or a DeWalt, and I'm like, man, that's cool. And guess what? They don't make one like that in Milwaukee, you know?
Hmm.
So I agree. Like it's not that I'm like, I'm team red and I'm never buying anything else. It's just it works that way. Like I'm actually gonna go buy some new 18-volt drills because the other ones, I still have my fuel 12-volt stuff, but I gave my other ones to my son, and now I'm gonna buy myself some new ones. Um, so I'll probably go back with Milwaukee just because I have all of the chargers and everything. But yeah, I agree. I mean, that's like people, giving the green Ryobi people, and I'm like, yeah, it's hairy homeowner stuff. But hey, if a guy buys that and that's what he has to use in the beginning to get the job done, who cares?
Nothing's wrong with that. Absolutely nothing's wrong with that if that's what they got to do. And look at it this. I look at it this way. So I sometimes have like my Rigid Pro Press. I use Pro Press a lot. So my Rigid Pro Press has these little 12-volt batteries that only fit in the Rigid Pro Press. They don't fit in any other tool. So every time I use that Rigid Pro Press, I'll take the battery out and charge the other battery that I'm not using. And that way, when I open that dude up, I never, ever, ever have a dead battery. And that doesn't happen when you start having multiple batteries and you're using on multiple different tools. You start swapping around, and you will probably have a dead battery at one point and say, "Oh man, I got to charge something." So there's a little bit to be said for having a dedicated battery for a dedicated tool and keeping it charged.
No, yeah, no, that does make sense. Which Pro Press do you have? Because I think I was looking at like the 241. I think it is.
Yeah, the RP241 is probably the best and most versatile one from Rigid. It's a really nice compact Pro Press. So they have standard Pro Press and compact Pro Press. Standard Pro Press is like your M18 or your Milwaukee M18 or your RP350 or 351, and then they have the compact, which is your M12 or your RP241. Compact does up to like an inch and a quarter on copper Pro Press, and then like I think up to 1 inch on like Mega Press gas. The standard tool will go up to, with the adapter, you could go all the way up to like 4 inch and whatnot. So depends on what you use and what you're trying to do, the size pipe you're trying to use and whatnot. But most residential applications, you can get away with a compact tool all day long, or even the Rigid 115, which is even smaller than the compact tool. It's called a mini, and that one does up to 3/4. It does 1/2 inch and 3/4 copper, and so it's even better for residential, and it's even got a lower price point to buy in, just over $1,000, like $1,200 or something like that. And you get the whole kit, and get you in that ProPress pretty easily, but you are limited to those small sizes.
And you have to buy the extra kit for like the tight corners because I didn't know what they were when people were using them. When I saw them putting the little clamp on and then doing that, and I'm like, what's that? And then finally, Colton from Vega told me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's literally just for tight spaces, like but that's just a kit you buy, right?"
Yep, that's just a kit. It's called the C1 and V1 jaws. The C1's for the compact and the V1's for the standard. And it's just it's like they call it the ring kit. So you can put the ring around the joint, and then you use the press tool to grab on it, and you can swivel it up and down and whatnot. So you have a lot more play on it with that ring kit, and you get in a lot of tight spaces.
Yeah, I think the 241 would be good for us for what we need because we have one of the big DeWalt, the DCE 20 or 2.
It's a freaking monster. It's a
Yes,
monster.
it's huge, and it's and it's good for when we do boilers and you got to do some of the big stuff. Like it gets all that stuff, and my installers have some amazing boiler jobs, but just like a water heater or something smaller, or sometimes the boilers you don't need,
Yep.
that big, and that thing is it'll build your arm up because it's hefty.
Yeah, and that's the thing. DeWalt, they've had that big boy out for many, many years now. And so they had a compact tool that I actually tested for DeWalt during COVID, like 2020 to 2021, like almost that whole year. It was a 3D printed model that fully functioned, had the battery on it and everything. It fully functioned, and it was a compact tool from Compact ProPress from DeWalt. I loved it. Best tool on the market. I was bummed when they wanted me to give it back. So I gave it back to them, and they said, "Oh, give us another 6 months to a year. We'll have a full one out, and we'll give it to you." Okay, great. Fast forward, didn't come out in a year. Fast forward 2 years, it came. We saw it at AHR in 2023, and they ruined it because they made it so much longer. They wanted to make it to where it pressed up to 2 inch on a compact ProPress tool. So unfortunately, they made it much longer, so the press throw is longer, so you get more force. But basically, it made it too big. So now their compact press tool is the size of a rigid standard tool. It just makes no sense. It's leave it to DeWalt to just not get out of their own way.
Yeah, it's funny because I've there's a bunch of I feel like every time I go to AHR, I meet some kind of DeWalt rep on the plane going to AHR. It's happened every year, and they're always
Yeah.
in different departments. This guy was something to do with, I want to say it was like concrete and different things like that,
Yeah.
but he was a cool guy, and I was like, man, you guys go deep in all these other places. I said, but some of the places I feel like you should be just uh trying to make those things better or revamp it or things like that. But they're always cool guys.
They're very
Um,
corporate. They're very corporate. They're owned by Stanley Black and Decker, so they're very corporate. So Milwaukee smokes them in everything as far as innovation goes, because Milwaukee can make a 3D prototype in house, go through all of the deal in 6 months to a year. Like I was just saying, DeWalt, they can't get out of their own way. They're so corporate. It takes them 3 4 years to make a tool. It's crazy.
yeah, no, that is crazy. It is to not to go off topic with your company now. Like, how big are you guys? Like, how many people you have working at the company?
We got 8 trucks, 10 people total. Two in the office, and 8 trucks. That includes me and my pops, because my dad still runs service calls, and so do I. And we got 2 ladies in the office, and it's fantastic. Got a pretty good crew right now. It's split half and half, half HVAC and half plumbing, and got a really good crew right now as it is. And hopefully, come summertime, we may have to add on. We'll see, but we'll see where it goes.
Nice. How is business? So, well, let me ask you this before I ask that question. Um, I know you guys do residential. You do commercial too, or are you just staying in the residential field?
No, residential and commercial, we do both.
Nice.
Absolutely. And business has been plumbing stays busy all the time. HVAC's been abnormally slow this year for us. Normally I try really hard to get some projects going for the wintertime. Like last year, we did a kind of a commercial shopping center that we did the commercial ductwork and build out on, which we don't normally do. We don't normally do new construction at all, but we did that last winter. Just kind of keep my guys busy. The winter before that, we had an apartment complex where we were doing all the change outs for all of the apartments, and we got that one that winter, and that was great. Kept all my guys busy. The year before that, we had a commercial chain that they wanted to upgrade all their units to R22, so it was great. We were able to do like 30, 40 stores, change them all out. This year, though, unfortunately, I wasn't able to line up anything like that, so it's been a little slower than normal, but we've been chopping down, and it's about to come back here. In another month or so, we'll be back into the thick of things.
Nice. Yeah, we've been lucky. That's what we've been doing. We have a bunch of big commercial jobs. Some of my videos, a bunch of them have been like big Resner heaters in these
Mm-hmm.
warehouses is what they want. We got a big mall. It's a North Face store, but they've been huge, and that's not knowing what we want. But we're like, hey, it's good money and it
Work.
keeps guys
Yep.
busy. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Um, I forgot what I was. Yeah, because I'll be honest, like we've done pretty good, but the fact that when you go like this and you start to grow and then you stay steady for a little bit, and the first hint of you see going down, um, that was like December, going into January, and we're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And then thank the Lord that it worked out, and we did some of the commercial things, and now we actually had some other things that I can't talk about yet that fell into our lap. That is literally like, um, it literally is like a gift from God. Like,
That's
here, take
awesome.
this, and I'm like,
That's
oh, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, and but I think a lot of people have been slow. The people that I've talked to all over the place. It's been just a slow year, slow start so far.
Yeah, and then with just the uncertainty with the economy and the
Mhm.
government and that kind of stuff. A lot of people are still playing catch up from COVID. You know what I mean? Like I mean, those effects are still going to be a little. People were spending savings, and now it used to be like tax time. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to get some sales because people are going to buy it with their tax money. Now a lot of people are like, I'm putting in the bank. I'm trying to build my
Yeah,
savings back up so I have some little bit of breathing room. And I've had quite a few customers like they're like, hey, I'm only buying this because I trust you guys and I have to have it. But if it was just a want, not a need, I would not be doing this. That money would be going to the bank.
yeah, absolutely. I get it. It's rough out there right now, and I don't know how it'll turn around. Summer will be busy, of course, for all of us, but we'll see how next winter goes. Of course, it's just always a guessing game.
Yeah, and then also, when they raise the prices after COVID, once these manufacturers raise the prices, they're never going to take them back down. That's what I tell
Dude,
consumers. I'm like, you guys are
it's
the ones that are
crazy.
ultimately losing out because when they charge us more, by default, we have to charge you more. Otherwise, I give you a 10-year labor warranty. I'm not going to be around in 10 years.
Yep, it's crazy, man. It's crazy the amount of increases that they've had. Since COVID that you mentioned that it's a unfathomable amount of price increases and keep doing it every year. 6%, bam, 6%, bam. It's like, man, you guys have gone up 100% since 3 years ago. It's amazing.
Yeah, I tell people before COVID, that system that cost, maybe the budget system that was like 7, 8 grand. Yeah, that system's like 11,000 now.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. That's where we're at. And that's what I tell folks all the time. 3 years ago, we used to be able to do that for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I always tell them, I'm like, during COVID, it's like somebody came in and shot the place up and left us to pick the pieces up. So, sorry, that's just kind of how it works. Um,
Mhm.
but it's funny when it comes to I don't know this side of it. Was the markups in plumbing as bad as HVAC or no?
Yeah. You know, water heaters for sure. Water heaters hit really bad. Pipe and things like that did go up a little bit, but where we saw it big time was a hit in the water heaters. It was crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'll ask you. So in my new house, Lennox is hooking me up and they're giving me a top of the line system to put in that house, which is awesome. Um, but I want to change the water heater too. So there now is like a 50-gallon gas water heater, which um, I mean, there's like 5 bathrooms in that house. So I don't know if 50-gallon would be enough. But so I was thinking about just doing a standard, like 75, 80-gallon gas water heater, or should I do the tankless?
I would go tankless, 100%. If you have gas, go tankless. You'll never run out of hot water with that. You have kids, even if your kids move away and they come back, you'll never run out of hot water with that. And then you're going to be a little bit more efficient because you're not just sitting around heating 50 gallons or 75 gallons of water all day long when nobody's using it. So, I wouldn't buy it based on the efficiency, but just buy it based on the fact that you're never going to run out of hot water. To me, that's awesome, especially when you got young kids and, y'all maybe all be getting ready to go for an event. And at least me, I'm always the last one to get in the shower. My kids take a shower, my wife go take a shower, everybody takes a shower. I'm the last dude to get in there. And of course, it's freaking cold. So it's worth it for that 100%. And, the price compared to like a 75 gallon gas, which here you can't buy a residential 75. It's what they call a commercial style. But so the price difference is negligible. It's really not that much. So it makes more sense to go with a tankless.
Yeah, I've thought about it, and we've done quite a few. I guess it's one of those things where I'm almost ignorant. I haven't done enough of them, so I don't think about them. We've installed quite a few of them, like my installers. But which ones do you prefer? Are you more of do you like the Navien, Renai? Like which ones are you?
See, we're Navien kind of guys. I like Navien. We put in Navien, but also we only put in water heaters. So we don't do the boilers. We don't do the combis and things like that. I've heard negative things about the Navians and their combis and their boilers and things like that. So I don't know. I can't say that. I've just heard negative things about it. But their tankless water heaters only have been fantastic. I really enjoy them, and really, Gil, when you get down into one, it's much more like a furnace than you would think. Man, it's got igniters and flame sensors. It's got an inducer motor basically in there. It's a furnace with water.
Yeah, no, and I've heard good things, and I want to say we did one of the combi ones, and I'm glad to know that because it was Navien, and we haven't had any issues. It's been in there for like 2.5, 3 years, um,
Good.
but don't you have to like descale them, every year and stuff like that, or we always I don't know if we're supposed to, and this might be where I don't know. Um, I always buy the Navien water thing, the Magna Lock or whatever they call it,
Hmm.
the water filter, and I just put it on all of them. I mean, is that a waste of money? Or I mean, it can only help, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, absolutely, that can only help. The more filtration, the better. Absolutely. But um, what they suggest is they suggest you clean them once a year. You flush them once a year, keeps the mineral buildup and everything out of the heat exchanger. But they also suggest that you flush your tanked water heater too. So nobody ever does that.
Yeah.
So but no, and it is a little bit more sensitive on a tankless water heater. But I will say that I've been behind water heaters, tankless water heaters that are 10, 15 years old. That people are like, hey, I've never flushed this thing. And at that point, it's like, okay, it's been 10 or 15 years. We're not going to start flushing it now. We're just going to let it rip as long as it's working. So it both sides. But yes, technically, according to their literature, you should do it every year, and it's a matter of just getting a pump and some vinegar. You can use some vinegar. They make cleaner. Some of these companies make cleaners and whatnot, but we just use vinegar. Put in the pump, in the cold side, out the hot, and let it run for about 30 minutes, and you're good to go.
Nice. Then maybe I'll do that. I know my local Johnstone was gonna hook me up with taking all the freebies I can get.
Yeah.
But even if I tell them that I have to pay a little bit for the tankless, because I was thinking about that, because the last house that I sold, um, I had all electric, and I've heard don't do electric tankless because they're garbage. So I went with one of the heat pump water heaters, and I love that thing. That thing was
Hmm.
awesome. I even piped in like the discharge, for the extra air
Yeah.
to go into the basement bedroom. Like that thing was awesome.
What brand was it?
Um, I used to think I had a Ream, but it wasn't a Ream because I got it from, I want to say it was A.O. Smith.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the heat pump water heaters are cool. We put in a handful of them. And absolutely, if you got electric, that's the way to go. I tell people all the time, don't go tankless if you got electric only. If you don't have gas, it just doesn't make sense. It's like trying to heat water with a toaster. You're just not going to happen.
That's funny. I like that analogy.
It's just
Um,
it's not going to happen efficiently. You're gonna kill all kind of power. You're gonna it's, you know. put a damn 90 amp breaker on that thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's yeah. I've heard things about them. I've never seen them. Like all tanklesses are 90 percenters, right? Do they make 80% tankless heaters?
Well, they make. Well, I guess they make non-condensing tankless water heaters. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what efficiency they would be, but they're non-condensing. So yeah, um, yes, you can get a non-condensing kind that you don't have to use PVC flue. You can, like Renai, they use a the older Renai's used a proprietary flue pipe, which was like a stainless steel inner with the outside where it pulled your combustion in was with plastic. So that's where the older Renai's used to use that kind. But yeah, so you get non-condensing kind.
Yeah, because I think I saw one of those and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I was like, it's got to be non-condensing because it almost looked like B vent. Matter of fact, I think that's exactly what it was. It looked
Hmm.
like B vent, but it was plastic on the outside. So I think it's
Yep,
exactly what you just described.
yep. That's the proprietary Renai venting and whatnot, which I don't like it because you can only buy it in a certain amount of feet and all that kind of stuff, and it's expensive.
Yeah. The only thing about if I go with the tankless is that the basement is all finished, and I'll have to make some holes to run some pipe. But whatever. I mean, it's an investment, and I want to do it right, so I got to do it again.
Find you an outside wall and boop, and you're good to
Mm,
go.
yeah. No. Yeah. Very very true. Um. Yeah, man. So you let me ask you this. So through this whole time, 250,000 plus followers on Instagram. Through that journey, if you could pick, I guess we'll say your top 3. What has been your top 3 like most rewarding moments or best moments, things you've gotten to do or whatever it is from, doing Instagram?
Sure. Yeah. That's I can tell you a couple of them. Well, one was last year, last October. Hilti Power Tools invited us to Switzerland, so we got to go to Switzerland and Liechtenstein to the Hilti headquarters. And oh, what a cool trip it was. We stayed in the Swiss Alps in Davos, Switzerland. My wife got to come with me. It was just the trip of a lifetime, and I will forever cherish that. That was one of the coolest things. Just from posting stupid videos on the internet. You know what I mean? We got to go do that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then also, our miracle mechanical projects. We've got to be able to give back and be able to help some people out who really needed our help, and they were so appreciative, and to be there and to feel that appreciation from the folks. That's really awesome. And then the third thing is just the people that you meet through social media. I met you, Gil. I met HVAC Rookie. I met all these other folks from the internet. They were internet friends, but they become real life friends, and I will cherish that forever because I think that's so cool that we met so many people that have the same passion that I do about the trades and enjoy things like that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. It's like I've said the last couple of weeks that I love going to AHR and it's awesome to see the new tools and the new things like that. But it's awesome to see the people, the relationships you build, man. Like it's awesome. And then, a lot of people don't realize, and you're there too. Like we were out here starting this a long time ago, man. Like and when you look back at how long ago it was, it's like it's been like 8, 9 years, that
Yep.
we've been, in this game, and it doesn't feel like that's long, but when you start counting the years and they're like, "Oh, 2024," and it's like, "How long you been doing this?" I'm like, "Oh, like 4 or 5 years." And I'm like, "Well, hold on a second." I'm like, "Man, maybe it is longer than that."
Yep. Yeah, much longer than that. And it's amazing. Yeah, you meet all these people over these years, and it's so cool to see everybody and to meet everybody and the people that you follow, and not only that, like you find people that follow you, that that know you, but you don't quite know them, and they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, man, I follow you. You're such a inspiration, and thank you for what you do and this and that." And it just like, whoa, man, that just hits me at the core and makes me feel so cool and special. And I don't know, I'm just a regular dude. I don't know, it just makes me feel awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like I said, yeah, it's cool to that, have an extra vacation or do something with some of the extra money that you get, but that's not why you do this, or otherwise it'll run out fast. It's rewarding when people email you or you see people and they're oh my god, man, like I did what you said and I got a raise and it's been like, oh, that's awesome, dude, like way to go, man. And
Yeah.
especially the mental health episodes that I do. um, have been very, very rewarding. That if I only helped one person during that whole thing, um, and I had it. It was in Atlanta. I don't know if you heard the story. Literally, I saw a husband and a wife do something. Rookie ran back to the press room to grab something, and she said, "Hey, can I give you a hug?" I'm like, "She's a pretty woman." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Thanks." And then she's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, like I just want to say thank you for helping my husband. Like he heard your episode and it made him go to rehab and he's been clean for 47 days. He had tears coming down his eyes and walked up and gave me a hug. Like that was powerful to the point that it almost makes me want to tear up when I talk about it."
Yeah, that's amazing. See, that's amazing stuff. Absolutely. Like from just posting on the internet, just sitting here talking to people here and there. Yeah, that kind of stuff is powerful. And you don't think that your word has that much effect, but apparently it does, and that's really cool. And yes, those mental health episodes have been awesome. They've been really killer. I really appreciate all of those. You've been doing a good job with that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, because it's stuff that and that's why I try to be honest. Like, I'm embarrassed that years ago that I used to be an addict. I mean, it's not a highlight of my life, but I know that people struggle with it in the trade. So if I can be honest and real about it and, somebody else out there going through it, like I know what it is when you wait till payday to go pay the dope man. But you got to hope you don't, you pay him because you owe him. Then he fronts you all week. Just this vicious cycle. I've been there, done
Yep.
that. And I know it's a miserable place to be. And at that time, you think you're never, ever in a million years going to get out of it. And that's why I made that video the other day. Like me showing the picture of the house wasn't like, I mean, obviously I'm happy because it's a dream home and, all that kind of stuff. But it's, 15 years ago, I never thought that I would have a bank account. I never thought me and my wife would still be together. I never thought that I've had anything positive in life. And like you just said, we're nobody special. We're normal guys. So if I can do that, anybody else can do it because I'm nobody special.
Absolutely. No, I got a story to tell of my own, and I don't know. I've never told it, and I'm not going to tell it here. But I got a big story about addiction to tell, and I will one day. But I've
Yeah.
never openly told anybody about any of it. But I've had my battles. I'll say that. And I used to think when I was a young man, early 20s, I was like, shit, I'll never see 40. I'm just not meant to be that person. I will. Something's going to happen. I'm just not going to make it to 40 years old. And it's amazing that we've got here now, and to see the success that we're here, and the fact that we were able to overcome so many things along the way to make it here is awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Especially if I look, I got enough people tattooed on me that, the fact that they're not here and I am is, hey, well, I guess God had a plan. Then I'm gonna try to use this big mouth for good as long as I possibly can and see what happens. Um, So yeah, it's been awesome, and especially seeing the people, you know, that were in the chat back in the HVAC shop talk days, or well, that's before I, had my Israel experience, and but you live and you learn. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. We don't bring that up. That was back way back in the past.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And hey, and like I tell people, hey, I'm a grown man, dude. I wish the guy well. I hope he's doing good and all that kind of stuff, man. It is what it is, man. I'm not gonna let that change. And I don't know if I'll ever be like friends with him, but he asked me, he said, "Hey, I'll do stop." He's like, "Will you take that video down?" The one that me
Yeah,
and Ralph did. And I was like, yeah,
yeah.
dude. Like I spoke my piece. I don't want to get views that way. You know what I mean? Like I'm way past that. I took it down and he was like, "Hey, I appreciate it." And then we talked a little bit and I said, "Hey man, like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I don't have no hard feelings. I don't know if I can be buddy buddy right now, but I'm willing to, let bygones be bygones and let's, be adults and move forward." And that's kind of where it stopped. But I'm cool with that. Like I said, I got no harm for the guy.
No, that's good, man. Absolutely. That's we're all adults. Exactly. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get along with somebody. Of course, we're not gonna not always see eye to eye, but we should be able to at least be civil to each other every once in a while.
Yeah. And that's why what I love about Instagram is that like how you said when you first found it, that's how I was. And I was like, man, all my friends, I'm like, Brent's over there killing it. I'm like, let me check this Instagram out. And I said it reminded me of that like Disney song, the It's a Whole New World. I was like, who are these people and where have they been all my life? I'm like, You know what I mean? So now being able to make friends, and normally it's like you have to choose to follow somebody. So it's more positive. Like I just love it. So that's why I said if I could get some kind of following on there, I'll tell uh Facebook to go screw itself just because it's become negative. Are you doing the threads thing at all?
Yeah, yeah. I joined Threads. I don't post on it very much, but I joined Threads a little bit, obviously, because when it came out, it was kind of a big thing last year. And they take everybody who follows you on Instagram. As long as they join Threads, they automatically follow you on Threads. So it was kind of like you kind of start Threads. It kind of, if you already got a following on Instagram, you got a built-in following on Threads. So it was kind of cool that way. But I haven't posted on there in a while, and I don't do much with it. But as far as Instagram goes, going back to that, no, you're right. There's not as much hate and negativity on Instagram as there is on Facebook. Now, there is hate and negativity on Instagram. Absolutely. Not going to say there's not, but it's just not as prevalent as Facebook. Facebook's just really nasty and ugly. And so is YouTube sometimes. And then Instagram doesn't seem to be that way. And then there's also just a really cool community of HVAC guys, and then there's a cool community of plumbers, and there's a cool community of electricians. There's a cool community of just trade related people on Instagram, and it's really cool to follow all them. And then once you start following all them, everybody knows each other, and everybody follows each other, and it's kind of a cool little group. It's really fun.
Yeah, it is because and like I always say it's kind of like the military, the Marine Corps will make fun of, the Navy guys, or the Army ain't ready for the Marines yet. But it's a joke, and that it takes all of those branches to make us the greatest fighting force that this world's ever seen. It's kind of like the trades too. We may joke HVAC and plumbers or the electricians, but we understand what they do and the importance of the trade. So we may razz each other, but you respect each other, and I love that whole community on Instagram, and I love it to be positive. Like as I've gotten older, it's just I feel like if you put positivity in the world, that's what you're gonna get back. Like even as an influencer, I'll respond to the positive comments and the negative ones. I just keep scrolling. Like I don't give it the time of day to even bother me. It's not worth it.
Yep, you can't harp on the negative stuff because yeah, the negative stuff it seems to hurt, and more. I can get, let's say 20 positive comments, then you get one negative comment. And that's the one that kind of sticks at you. But if you just start trying to not pay attention to them and just delete them or just scroll past them, it really makes a difference. Absolutely, it's the positivity on it. But and not only that though, but in what I post and what I show, I try to show real life stuff, and I try to show sometimes that it's not all positive in the workforce. Sometimes we're out here working, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes we're out here at 10 o'clock at night, um, doing a job because one of the guys called in sick, or because something emergency happened. I try to showcase real life stuff and try to showcase that sometimes it's not all positive out there in the field. But yes, when it comes to feedback and trolls and things like that, yeah, I try to ignore them 100%.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, like, does your wife, does Kathleen work for the company, or does she do something else? Because she's quite the handy woman. I see some of her videos, like she gets down as far as painting. I've seen her little painting rooms and stuff. Like she has all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
she's awesome. She loves the tools as much as I do. Like she really loves to she's like, well, what new tools have come out? I want to go buy some new tools. Like she'll tell me, I'm like, yes, let's go do it. That's awesome. But no, she does not work directly for H&M Services, our plumbing and heating air conditioning company. What she does is she runs a social media company, and she runs it 100%. I'm kind of just the face of it. Like she works with our sponsors on the Tool Pro side. You see any paid posts or anything like that. That's deals that she works out. She works out obviously our Miracle Mechanical project. She works out all the logistics on that. She helps me find the recipients on that. But yeah, she does all of the Tool Pro stuff behind the scenes, and so she has an office at my office, and she comes in 3-4 days a week to work on the social media stuff because it takes that much time. Gil, it's just so much time. Emailing back and forth, setting everything up. But yeah, she does that, and she does an awesome job at it. She kills it.
That's awesome. She definitely does. She's on top of it because I see when you guys are together, and I feel like she's like, you know,
Oh yeah, she's my keeper. Like she tells me, she's like, you need to put this post up today, and then we're going to HR. We're going to meet with these people, and we got to go to this. We got to go to this. She got it down, man.
Yeah, see, you have your wife. I got HVAC rookie. You know,
Exactly. There you go.
yeah. Well, at least at AHR, dude, Scott has been a lifesaver because by myself, it's like, you know, how it is. It's work, man. Especially if you have sponsorship engagements or you got a podcast or something, and he helps me where he's like, "Hey, man, you got to be here in 20 minutes. Like, you better get moving." But my wife has said, I've been trying to get my wife or my son. I said, "Hey, you want a little bit extra money? Like, you help me do some stuff if I can keep it in the family." Because it's getting to the point where I can't grow this by myself. Like I'm kind of maxed out as it is, you know.
Yep.
It's just, do I want to hire some outside person? Do I want family to do it? I'm kind of, I don't know yet, so we'll see. But I definitely need some kind of help. It's too much.
It's hard. It's hard working with your family, that's for sure. But me and my wife, we figure it out. You know, we talk about things, and she's awesome as far as that goes. We get along real well, so it works out. But it is hard working with family and whatnot. But I'd much rather work with her than work with some stranger who doesn't quite understand what we do day to day and doesn't understand social media, because she's been around since the beginning. So she saw me start the Instagram, and she helped me film all the stuff, you know, all the time. And then eventually she was like, I kind of want to make my own Instagram page. I'm like, go ahead, you know, please do. And then that kind of steamrolled, and then that's how she kind of started running ours. But yeah, you know, yeah, I'd much rather have my wife help me than others, but I understand sometimes it doesn't always work that way.
Well, plus you got to split the money with her anyway, so.
Exactly. She's going to split it. What are you talking about? She takes all of it.
Yeah, very, very true. And the fact that she likes tools, I wish my wife liked tools. That would be a godsend. I pray for that every night. It hasn't happened yet, but some other things have come true. So I'll take it. It's okay.
It might one day, Gil. I'll pray for you, buddy.
Yeah. Before we start to close this out, I did a podcast. Oh, this bottle's not open. I'm getting a case of this stuff, and I'll have to send it to you. The
Okay.
Inferno armor stuff.
Dude, I saw the video that you made on that. That was super impressive. I was like, holy crap.
Dude, this stuff is no joke. I've been messing with it. It wasn't made for our industry at all. They made it for sprint car drivers. They already had the flame retardant suits, but to spray it on there, just to help a little bit. That way, if they do catch fire, they can buckle their seatbelt, and maybe they're not in the burn unit. And this stuff is awesome. I definitely think that we can use it. And I know they're trying to make a push. And I said, well, send me a case and I'll send it some friends. You know, I'll pay the shipping or whatever. I said, and I know people can use this, you know, in places to try to do some things. Even just as simple as that paper towel, like that's pretty wild.
That's crazy. I saw that and I was like, holy shit, I need to find out what that is and get some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's Inferno. Here, I got the. They wrapped it up and they sent it like they were sending me bombs, but Inferno armor. You can get it on like their website and stuff. But if you spray your clothes, like if you're working around something that you think that, you know, there's open flames or something, like even if you spray your clothes and you don't got to saturate it, it'll be on your clothes for up to 6 months. Like even if you wash your clothes, it'll still be
Oh,
in the
wow.
fabric of your clothes. Yeah, it's wild.
No, and you guys, I don't know if y'all saw that video that Gil put out there. Go check it out on Instagram. He took a paper towel, just like a plain old paper towel. You know, he lit one on fire. He's like, see how flammable it is, because obviously paper towels are super flammable. And then he sprayed it like just a light mist, not like a soaking. Just sprayed it down, and then he hit it with the torch. It did not even a little bit. Like it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, just a little. And they did it live when I did the podcast with them, and it's funny because that was like as a favor to somebody. I would have normally said no to those, and thank God I said yes because I was like, "This is cool." I was like, "My 12-year-old inner pyro's coming out that I just want to spray this on stuff and light shit on fire now." Like,
Yes, dude. They need to be giving you some kickback on that, because they about to hit it big in the HVAC market.
yeah, I think so. Maybe think Vito will be mad if I spray one of their bags and see if I can light it on fire.
No, I think that sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. This little guy is gonna get set on fire. Maybe I'll try it off video so that way if it doesn't work, nobody will ever know.
Yeah,
But
but it'll work. It's not gonna. Well, the point is, it's not gonna get set on fire. So that's what's gonna
yeah,
be awesome.
Yeah, no. If it has a burn spot and you happen to win that one, it's got character. You know what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
it's got a story behind it. But hey, I won the bag that Gil set on fire.
That's
Um,
good stuff.
but everybody, we're at an hour. Brent, I'm sorry, Jesus, Brent. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a long time coming. The fact that you are one of those OG guys that's been around for an ever, and to see all the success coming your way, you 100% deserve it. And I'm so happy you could finally come on, man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Gil. I appreciate you having me on, man. This has been an awesome experience, and you've been killing it yourself. And I hope you continue to kill it and take it to heights that we've never seen before, brother. Keep going.
Thank you, buddy. You the same. You be the first husband and wife combo to hit 1 million followers. Well, they might already have that, but you guys will both hit 1 million followers on Instagram. That'll
Oh,
be amazing.
dude, we got some things in the works that I think are going to be huge for the trade if I can make them happen. I'm trying my hardest, but it's going to be huge.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it like everybody else.
Yes, buddy, for sure.
Well, thank you, brother. Hey, real fast. I mean, obviously everybody knows to follow him on Instagram. And the podcast, like you still actually record the podcast, right?
So we do a version of the podcast. It's no longer the Tool Pros podcast. It's called the Trade Pros podcast. So you can go find the Trade Pros podcast and listen to some of those episodes. We don't do them as frequently as we did the Tool Pros, but maybe a couple a month we usually put out.
Nice. All right. Well, if God forbid you're out there and you don't follow Brent, I don't know what you're doing or what rock you've been climbing under, but you definitely should go take care of that and
Check
give
us
me a
out, Tool
follow.
Pros, on all of our socials. It's there.
Yes. Follow him and his wife as well. She's just the tool wife, correct?
Yep, she's Tool Wife.
Yeah, and she does some awesome stuff. Trust me, she does stuff better than half the men I've seen. I've seen her paint a room, show off some tools. It's pretty slick, so I like watching her content as well. So, anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you and keep kicking ass, my man.
Thanks, Gil. Appreciate it, buddy.
See you, brother.
Peace.
Oh man, that is so awesome having Brent on here, man. And as long as I've known him, and when Tool Pros first started back in the blue collar roots days, when all that stuff was happening with some of the different podcasts, Tersh, and that's how long some of us have been around. And to see those people have success nowadays is awesome, because we're all doing the same thing in a different way, so you want to see your friends succeed. And it's awesome seeing that he is really, really kicked Instagram's ass, dude. Almost like 250,000 followers. That's absolutely amazing. I just passed 4,000 and I'm ready to have a parade. So I can't imagine, when I get even close to, or not when, if I even get ever close to that. So thank all you guys for coming here tonight, man. I appreciate you. Um, I have a ton of stuff to give away. As you know, I am trying to get this house taken care of. I had to do all the inspections. I had a problem with the inspection. Um, Everything was good for the most part. I'm obviously already going to replace the water heater in the HVAC system anyway. But we had a plumbing leak in the master shower that was coming through one of the can lights in the kitchen. So I got a little nervous and didn't know if it was going to be like, pull my offer kind of problem. And it ended up that it was a minor issue and not a big deal. So everything's all good. So I close March the 15th, and then we could finally get this process going and finally put the whole house thing to bed, because it's been long and tiring. So I can't wait for that to be done, get the new studio done, and then we can rock and roll. You know what I mean? So thank all you guys for coming here every Wednesday. I don't know if anybody, I tried to go on Instagram tonight. This is the first time. I don't know if it worked. I haven't seen anything, so I guess we'll find out. If anybody did watch this or watching this on Instagram, comment and let me know whether it was good or not. With that being said, yep, thank all you guys. I appreciate it. Thank to all the sponsors who make this show possible. With that being said, let's close this thing out. Um, Guys, remember, be safe out there, man. We all have somebody to make it home to. All right. Keep your head on the swivel, whether it's driving. Make sure the breaker's turned off. Walking past that metal, make sure you have the proper PPE, whatever it is. Like, as you get older, you worry about safety, man. I know when you're 20 and you're that brute strength and you want to lift everything and do everything, you don't care about the consequences. And you get a little bit older and You start wanting to buy your time back and make sure you get home, in one piece and stuff like that. So please be safe out there. Remember to do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Keep making yourself better at what you do. There's no such thing as staying the same. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. It's just that simple. Nowadays with the resources, whether it's a podcast, a book, an online course, taking a class local to you, whatever it is. And then the other side of that is give back to people around you. Maybe you know more. Maybe you're not a senior tech, but you know more than this new guy. Help them out. Give back to the industry. Make somebody else better, because it's amazing when you try to help somebody else, you make yourself better in the same token. It's done that for me. Yep. And then just put positivity in the world. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I keep feeling like I'm forgetting to say something, but anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. And until next week, I'll talk with you mofos later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Thanks for watching. Appreciate ya.